Buddy, for the 6th season in a row, welcome to the Hamilton County Television Coaches Show. It's our pleasure once again this year to spend Monday evening with many of the head coaches from the high schools around Hamilton County. The Hamilton County Coaches Show is brought to you by Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. Ring them up at 317-773-4444. Also sponsored by Logan Street Signs, Noblesville Trophies, the Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Network. Our first guest tonight is Jason Simmons, head coach of the Noblesville Millers. Coach Simmons, the tale of two halves in that game last Friday. The first half, you guys went in right there at at the final click count down to 0, head by 3, and looked like you might have had some momentum, but unfortunately, Lawrence North just kind of took it away from you there in the second half.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, really, and I think the third quarter was absolutely the difference. We got outscored 21-0. Disappointing start to the year, to be honest with you, Brad. But when you take a second to take a step backwards, look at the film. There's a lot of positives that can come out of this for us. We played 26 players Friday night, where Friday night was their first substantial varsity experience and varsity playing time. And so if we continue to develop those 26 guys and blend them with the guys that we have coming back, we feel like our team's going to make a lot of strides throughout the regular season. Well,
I think you hit one of the keys there, Coach. You were talking about a lot of changes in this team. Let's just talk about some of the difference between a 2016 team and a 2017 team.
Last year we started about 15 seniors, and so we had to replace a lot of those guys. And when you look across the board offensively, we had 4 guys on the offensive line. That was their first varsity start. We had 2 tailbacks, 2 receivers who started their first varsity game. And so the experience we had coming back on offense really was centered on Grant Grimmel, Ryan Barnes, and Seth Pope. And we were hanging our hat on those 3 guys, and that showed early. We got great productivity out of Luke Blevins and Christian Collier in the run game. Both those guys did a nice job. Nick Rusi on the outside had a good football game for us. But we grew. You could see our kids start to play a little bit faster as the game went on the offensive line. Our kids grew as the game went on, and you have conversation with them today like we did, and they realize now how fast it is, and they realize the level at which they need to play. And defensively, we played a lot of guys on the defensive line because we're battling some illness, we're battling some injury up there, and that forced us to get a lot of guys some experience. And we learned a lot about some guys. We learned some good and we learned some bad. And for us as coaches, we need to continue to take those young men, develop them, and keep pushing them forward.
I've always said that being a high school level coach has got to be a very tough job because every year things are changing. You have kids graduate, you have kids who may or may not come back to the program, you have transfers, new faces, and of course you always end up with the injury bugaboo. And it sounded like you guys had a few health issues this week too.
Yeah, we're not a very deep team to begin with. We have a small senior class. Our junior class has played a lot of varsity football snaps and will continue to do so as the year goes on. And so we have a lot of sophomores in our 2 deep right now, and those guys got thrown to the fire a little bit Friday night playing a good, big, physical Lawrence North team. And you got to tip your hat to those guys. I felt like our staff had a great halftime. Our kids were ready to go for the second half, and we just didn't make plays. We missed a lot of tackles in that third quarter, and I think it's hard for young kids to overcome that adversity when that's the first time that they faced it on a Friday night.
Offensively, let's talk about the shift from Ryan Barnes in the quarterback position to Ryan Barnes in the tight end position, and also in the slot there in a couple of the Wildcats. Craig and I were talking about that during the broadcast Friday night, and I just think, to me, I thought that was a marvelous move because I think he's being very, very well utilized.
Well, when you look at our football team right now, we felt like we had 2 really good high-level football players in Ryan and Grant. And Ryan has the versatility to line up and go play a lot of different positions. We could put Ryan, I joked with the staff at Indiana University this summer, I think we could put him on the defensive line, we could put him on the offensive line, we could put him anywhere on our team, and he's going to be one of our better football players. And so for us, Ryan lined up in 7 different spots Friday night for us. And that's what he brings to our football team and our football program. He's a tremendous kid with a really high football IQ that shows up in his ability to play a lot of different spots.
Well, I know last year when he was before he was injured, he wreaked havoc on the defenses on the other side, because you just never knew, even if he dropped back for a pass, you had a good chance that the guy was going to run, and he was one of your leading ground gainers.
He was our leading rusher a year ago. He was our leading passer a year ago. For us, we have to continue to be creative in finding ways to get Ryan the ball from all of those different spots. And really with Grant, what I saw in Grant on Friday night, I was impressed with. I knew he had a high level of poise. We saw a little bit of what he could do a year ago. I thought Grant played really well on Friday, and that gives us a lot of momentum moving forward with those two guys. The friendship that they have, the camaraderie that they've built over the last year, they're fun to watch, and those two guys are going to continue to carry us offensively.
We've talked about Grant, we've talked about Ryan. Who else would you single out as a star of the offensive side?
Well, I think you look at Christian Collier. You mentioned transfers. Christian moved in from Hamilton Southeastern last winter. Right when second semester started. He had a 70-yard touchdown run, but he brings an element of speed, he brings an element of toughness, and he brings an element of energy to our offense. And he's a tremendous kid. I was excited for him to have some success Friday night. And the other two kids I'll single out are Cam Knight and Remington Broadhead. Both of our starting tackles. Cam had his first varsity start as a sophomore. I talked to him after the second drive, and I said, "You got to grade yourself right now. Where are you at?" He said, "C." And so much of it was just his first step. He went for his last football game was against a 14-year-old, and now he's playing against a 17-year-old defensive end who was a really good football player at Lawrence North, and so he had to get adjusted, and he made some good adjustments throughout the night. And I thought Remy did an excellent job at the left tackle spot. Not only protecting Grant's blind side, just bringing us an element of athleticism and toughness there.
Yeah, Christian had that 70-yard run there in the first quarter, and of course one of the to me one of the big plays that we were kind of hopeful was going to set the tone for the second quarter was for the third quarter was that last drive in the second quarter. That was a nice drive to get down there. Couldn't get across the goal line for 6 points, but did manage to get a nice field goal to take the lead.
When you look at that field goal battery, we had a brand new holder in Connor Gutting. Jack last year was 4 for 9, so for him to hit that first field goal of the year, I thought was huge. Andy Cleverly is back. He's done an awesome job as our short snapper. So we had two guys in there with Friday night experience, and we had a rookie holder. But still, though, it was that drive in itself, the poise that Grant had, our ability to execute and move the ball and get that field goal late in the first half was huge.
I hate to bring this up because I know it's not going to be a popular thing to talk about, but defensive-wise, especially in the second half, it just looked like the Wildcats had no trouble opening holes and gaining. I didn't look at the final stat, but my guess is that they probably averaged somewhere between 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a run,
if not more. I know you hesitate to bring it up, but real is real, and we talk to our kids about being transparent, being honest, and we gave up 411 yards on the ground, 500 total yards of offense, and that's not who we it's not who we want to be. We missed some reads. I thought we fundamentally we misplayed some things. The beauty of high school football in the state of Indiana is, similar to what this generation of kid is used to, is we can hit the reset button on Saturday morning. And, I told our kids all week long, when you get stressed, especially you young guys that haven't played a lot, you're going to go back to your preparation and your fundamentals. And that showed in the third quarter. Because fundamentally we weren't where I've seen us be. In our level of preparation, I felt like our kids just got overwhelmed a little bit. And but again, of those 26 guys that we talked about with their first substantial varsity experience, 16 of those 26 were on the defensive side of the ball, and that showed. That absolutely showed. But we're 1 week better right now. We're going to have our hands full this coming Friday.
Well, the one thing I was going to bring up next is, you look at the Hoosier Crossroad Conference, and of course it's a good conference, a lot of good competition there, and then several of your opponents. You'll have Carmel next week, North Central, or rather Lawrence North last week. So the MIC is also, prevalent. And of course, when it comes to sectional time in north central Indiana here, we get a combination of both, and it's almost like there's so many good football teams out there that everybody is just poised to knock over everybody every week.
Well, I think so much of it, and I think that's the best part about coaching and playing in Central Indiana, is you have to be prepared and be on top of your game every week. And for us, we have to keep our focus on developing our players and continuing to make strides moving forward. We can't worry about the struggles that we had last week. Can't worry about who we have, who we don't have. We just have to continue to develop our kids, coach our kids, and continue to grow them as people as well.
In the last minute we've got left here, Coach, let's just look a little forward to Carmel Friday night. You'll be going over to Carmel. Yep. They lost in Louisville to Trinity 31-3. 4 of the 5 teams that played Kentucky teams this weekend got beat, but all the games were against excellent programs there. And of course, Carmel is the defending state champ.
Carmel's the defending state champ with a signal caller coming back who's really impressive. Not only is he a really good quarterback, but he's an impressive young man as well. And Jake got hot at the end of the year last year and really helped carry that team. When you look at Carmel, it's easy to say they've lost a lot offensively, but they're big and physical up front on the offensive line. Their tailback has the ability to be a big-time playmaker. And then you flip the script. Their kicking game is really solid, as good as you're going to find. It's as well coached as you're going to find in our area. And then defensively, you turn that film on, and they are impressive. They are everywhere. Obviously the headliner in Bo Robbins, he's a special difference maker type of player, but they are so fundamentally sound and so disciplined defensively that they force you to beat them, and that's not easy to do.
Well, the other thing to me that's so special about the teams specifically here in Hamilton County is when you go on the road in Hamilton County, you're going up against a huge crowd, regardless of where you go. When you guys go to Fishers, to from Noblesville to HSE, over to Westfield, or even Zionsville, Brownsburg, and all those big crowds. And I'm sure that it'll be the same at Carmel Friday night.
Yeah, it's their home opener. That traditionally has been a huge gate for them. Obviously, our fans are going to travel well and support us. So we're certainly looking forward to that. So it'll be a great environment for our kids. We have to get better the next couple of days in preparation for it, and we're gonna hop on the bus and go take our best swing at it.
That's Coach Jason Simmons of the Noblesville Millers. Coach Simmons, thank you for joining us, and good luck this week.
I appreciate it.
We'll be back after this from our sponsors.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Oh, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street signs and banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County Television Coaches Show here. First Monday of the season. Coaches Show is brought to you by our friends at Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. 317-773-4444. We're here with Coach Tom Dilley. Before we get going on that, Coach, did you have a chance to have some of the pizza?
Oh, yeah.
Is it up to par?
It was good.
That's good. I'm
As
glad
expected.
to hear that. Our other sponsors for the Coaches Show are Logan Street Signs, Noblesville Trophies, Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Network. Well, Coach, your team started out on a positive note, probably not quite as positive as you would have liked it to have been, but a victory is a victory, a 13-11 victory over Martinsville Friday night on the road.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't pretty, but I thought I was impressed by our kids and their toughness and how they persisted through some adverse situations. Defense played their tail off the whole game. Offense made some plays when we had to. Kicking game came through for us. So a complete win, but we can get better in all three phases, and we need to.
Well, before we look at some of the specifics on this game, let's just talk a little bit about the 2017 Eagles in comparison to the 2016. What are the major changes in your team this year?
Well, we graduated all 5 of our starting offensive linemen from last year, and the tailback that ran the ball, a big chunk of our offense.
I remember
year.
him from last year, and
all
the
very good
numbers
players.
they put up.
Yeah, all very good players, and the guys that are stepping into those roles, we're expecting a lot out of, and they'll be getting better each week. We do return our starting quarterback from last year, Luke Keller, a real good player and a great leader, and we're changing our scheme on the defensive side too. So a lot of transition, but guys have taken the things well, and I think we're making progress.
Well, it looks like Kaiser had himself one heck of a good game.
Yeah, Thomas played a little Z receiver and slot and was our backup tailback last year, and this year is getting a little bit more of the load carrying the ball. But Thomas ended up kicking and kicking off for us, and had an extra point, 2 field goals, and those were all huge in a tight game too. Return kicks, he did a little bit of everything.
I noticed that turnovers. There was one turnover, and that was by Martinsville. You guys did not turn the ball over in the game.
We actually threw a couple picks.
Oh, okay.
We actually did.
I got my stats wrong
No,
then.
it's okay.
Excuse me. Oh, that was fumbles. Fumbles. I'm
yes,
sorry.
I wish that was true.
Yeah. Penalties early in the season.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I thought there weren't a ton of concentration penalties, and there were a couple, and that's enough. But most of the penalties were penalties of effort and aggression, and I thought we did a decent job.
Offensively, we've talked about Kaiser, talked about the quarterback situation. Who else would you give a star of the game to in the offense?
Brendan Downey, wide receiver. We scored on our first offensive play. He caught a little corner route from about 30-some yards out, and he caught another big ball down the seam to put us in position for the go-ahead field goal late too, and did a nice job at wide receiver.
Defensively, talk about the how the defensive effort was.
It was great. They stopped a number of 4th downs. They played the whole first half on our side of the field, it seemed like, and they kept coming up big. Our inside linebackers, Charles Bach and Logan Weaver, both had great games and were very active, and did a great job of leading everybody out there too. And our outside linebackers, Jake Labus and Hank Bates, both had really good games, and then Sam Ashton in the defensive line was a force and had a couple sacks and was disruptive. But the overall team effort, making plays when they needed to, getting stops when they had to, they just kept coming up big. They needed to step up in situations. They just kept doing it.
The Eagles led most of the game, but did fall behind in the 4th quarter and won it with right around 5 minutes remaining in the game. Take me through that sequence as you're trying to get down the field to punch that ball either in for 7 or get the field goal to win.
Yeah, they went up, and we got the ball back in decent field position around the 30-some yard line, and actually we got a 1st down or 2, and then we sputtered, but there was still plenty of time, so we were just going to punt and play defense and hopefully get a positive exchange in field position. They roughed our punter and gave us a break, and we were able to move it a little bit closer, hit a big seam pass to Downey and got down to the goal line. Really wish we had punched it in, but we ended up kicking another field goal, and then defense went to work.
I know we talked a little bit about defense, but who would you give the stars of the game to for defense?
We just talked with our team about that tonight, and our defensive player of the game was Logan Weaver. He's a 3-year starter, and undersized but very tenacious and active and physical inside backer with a great nose for the ball. I don't even have my numbers in front of me, but he and Charles Bach, our other inside linebackers, certainly had the best numbers. But we were pleased with everybody's effort.
Coming up this week, probably one of the two biggest challenges you'll have in your program when Lafayette Central Catholic comes into town with their history, all the state championships they've won. They're coming off a 54-0 loss to Lafayette Jefferson, but that, of course, is a 1A versus a 6A, and a lot of difference there. How do you go about preparing your team for this game?
Same as we always do. We try to improve as much as we possibly can. Get familiar with what they do, but it's all about improving our execution and becoming better football players and better teammates and all those things by Friday. We saw Lafayette Jeff. We scrimmaged them in our controlled scrimmage, so we know that they're a quality team, a quality program. So we're not going to be. I'm hopeful that our players are not going to be distracted by that score from last week. It has nothing to do with this week, and we know that they are a tradition-rich and very, very proud program that's going to be super focused this week. But we want to treat everybody the same, play our best game.
Well, that will also be our Hamilton County Television Game of the Week coming up this Friday night. And for those of you who are wanting to view that game or go out to Guerin and see that game, I understand the time on that is at 7:30 rather than 7 o'clock.
Yep.
About a half hour later, probably more just due to travel.
A little travel and distance, absolutely.
Yeah, in that.
This time of year, it's light until about the third quarter, anyways.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to being out there. We always enjoy coming out and being there in Golden Eagle territory.
We love having you.
That's Coach Tom Dilley, head coach of the Guerin Catholic Golden Eagles. We'll be back with more on the Coaches Show after this.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street signs and banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Hamilton County Television welcomes you back to the Hamilton County Coaches Show, our premiere edition for Season 2017. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. Give them a ring at 317-773-4444 to take it out, or you can dine in. Our other sponsors include Logan Street Signs and Banners, Noblesville Trophies, the Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Network. We're joined now by Hamilton Heights Huskies head coach Mitch Street. Mitch, you went to Mount Vernon Friday night, which we were saying before we came on the air. That's a tough place to play.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that they've got a tradition there that's maybe been down a little bit the last few years, but regardless, they still have that built-in tradition, and they have a new coach this year, and they have good student support, and they opened up a brand new turf field and stadium, and so definitely presents some challenges. Well,
like the northern part of Hamilton County, the area there in Fortville, that's a very, very rapidly growing area, and
absolutely.
Mount Vernon keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year, and they're a 4A right now, but I think they'll be knocking on the door of 5A pretty soon.
I think that's the expectation there, I think, for sure, and so we open up with some big schools, and so we definitely have to get after early, and Mount Vernon was one of those examples.
Well, you took an early lead in the first quarter, and then unfortunately couldn't put anything across in the second or third quarter. Finally did score again in the fourth quarter, but the Marauders put a couple touchdowns and several other things together and managed to beat your Huskies by 4 points the other night. Let's talk about tell me about the game.
Well, we got an early turnover on their first possession. We intercepted them and got the ball at the 10-yard line, and we're unable to punch that in. And that would really set the tone, I think, for the game. Had we been able to get that converted and got a score there and come away with some points, the game perhaps could have gone a little bit differently for us offensively. But we went 4 and out there and weren't able to punch it in, and from there on out it was a grind. And I think we played really well defensively. I thought we played really well in the special teams game. We have a lot of work to do offensively right now. Just not anywhere close to where we want to be, and just weren't able to execute. And so we got, like I said, I thought we played well enough defensively to win the game. I thought we won the special teams game, and just didn't give ourselves a chance with our offense.
Only 4 receptions on passing plays out of 13 attempts for the night.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be able to throw the football. And we struggled there. We played 2 different quarterbacks, and really haven't settled on who that is. We've got to be able to establish a passing game. I think we faced a heavy box. We faced that a lot the last couple of years as well. And our passing game hasn't been as good as we wanted to, but it's been a little more prevalent than where we are right now. And so it makes it tough offensively when you're one-dimensional and we weren't able to get the ball in our passing game. But hopefully we're going to continue to work at it. I love our kids' attitude. We even on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, we're working at it, and they've got they're fighting and working each day. So I can live with those things so long as we're making strides and progress, and that they're working towards those things.
The 4 receptions that were made, Cross had 2 and Pennington had 2, and all 4 of those were not lengthy plays, but longer plays.
Yeah, we had a couple plays where we were able to get down the field and able to make a completion. We had another longer completion that was brought back due to a holding penalty that perhaps could have given us a chance. Got us in the red zone down the last drive of the game prior to turning over on down. So we had a nice big play there, but it was called back for a holding penalty. But we were able to get a little bit vertical, which is nice. It's just we have to be able to control the football a little bit more with our passing game as well, with some of the quick game and those types of things which are easier, should be easier at least, throws and kind of rhythm throws, and just understanding what we want to do with those passes.
I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but I believe it's Weeble. Is that cool?
Wable.
Wable. Okay.
Yep.
Looked like he was a workhorse in the backfield.
Well, yeah, he's a sophomore kid for us. Had a nice game. He's got to continue to improve. I think that he's a kid that's we're playing a lot of sophomores. We played 6 sophomores, extensive minutes on Friday night, and he's one of those kids too that came in and did a nice job for us. He's got to kind of become that more complete back, whether it be passing game and pass protection and those types of things. But his future is really bright, and he had a real nice game for us.
Let's talk a little bit about the defense. How did rate your defense for the game?
I think we played a really good defensive football. I mean, we only ran 39 plays offensively, which isn't anywhere close to where we need to be, and so we continually put our defense back out in the field, and to hold them to 17 points really says a lot about where we were defensively. I thought we played really, really well. I thought we flew around. I thought we got people to the football. We played physical. We played fast, and that's where we wanted to be at. Ike Cooper led us in tackles and had a nice night. I thought Craig Leininger, another linebacker, played really well for us. We played a lot of guys up front as well who I thought provided some burst for us, some pass rush, and really played pretty good football. So pretty pleased overall with our defense. Obviously there's things that show up, and we gave a couple big plays, which you don't want to do as a defense. But overall, really pleased with that group and how they played. And like I said, I thought they played well enough that we should have won the football game.
Let's talk a little bit about the difference between your team of a year ago in 2016 and what you're putting on the field this year.
Well, we're just young. We're really, really young. Like I said, we're playing about 6 seniors play big minutes for us, which is small for us. We played about 6 sophomores, extensive minutes, whether it be on offense or defense or both. So we're young. Whereas last year we played heavy juniors and seniors and very few sophomores. And so we're very young. We're very green. Even the juniors, upperclassmen, we're playing outside of our line on the offensive and defensive line. We have very little varsity experience. So we are a work in progress, I think, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But even across the field, we have a lot of room for growth, which is exciting. But with our schedule, you got to get there quick. And so
I was just going to bring up your schedule here. It's probably of the schedules I've been looking at this last week, it's one of the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
You have got quite a diverse schedule here. You've got Kokomo is a 5A school next week. You'll have Noblesville in a few weeks on the 22nd, and I believe that is a game that we will be broadcasting for you on Hamilton County Television. I think Craig Atkins and I are scheduled to be out there for that game. But Western is a 4A team, and you guys don't exactly have number one, an easy conference, or number
right.
two, an easy non-conference schedule.
When we started putting together that out-of-conference schedule, we were in a different conference. We were in the Mid-Indiana Conference, and I thought we really needed to boost our out-of-conference schedule. And so you go and you pick up some teams in Noblesville we used to play in Week 2, and that got changed here this past year. And so we really wanted to boost our out-of-conference schedule with Mount Vernon and Noblesville, and then we kind of had easier conference. And our conference fell apart. We changed conferences, and that our conference is much tougher now, And so really tough out-of-conference schedule, and our conference opponents are all traditional powerhouses in their divisions. I think you look at that conference, and well over half of them have either been to a state championship or won a state championship in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you have programs that are based there that you have to be ready for. There's no easy games, and so we embrace that. We're not going to shy away from it. Not going to use it as an excuse. Yeah. It is what it is, and so. We got to continue to get better and continue to put a product out there that's going to give us a chance to win on Friday.
I noticed that you guys have a playoff game the last weekend of the season.
Yeah, so our conference is divided into 2 different divisions. So we play our division, and then the other division play each other, and you have some crossover games. But then you'll play how you place. You'll play that placing in the Week 9 there. It's kind of interesting, kind of fun way to do it, but yeah, definitely a tough schedule.
Home opener next week, Saturday, or rather, I shouldn't say Saturday, I should say Friday night, 7 o'clock against 5A Kokomo. Of course, Kokomo hosted Hamilton Southeastern last week and lost 24-2 and had 0 offense with the exception of a safety.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch on film. I think that they're both teams play really good defensive football. Kokomo and Hamilton Southeastern, I think. Hamilton Southeastern obviously got a little bit more going offensively, but that was a fun game to watch, and just really physical teams, and both those teams I think are going to be pretty good down the stretch.
That's Hamilton Knights Huskies head coach Mitch Street. Coach, thank you for coming in. Good luck this weekend, and we'll be back with the Coaches Show after these messages.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Oh, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street Signs and Banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County Coaches Show, brought to you by Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street in Noblesville. You can dine in, or you can order it ahead of time at 317-773-4444. We're also sponsored by Logan Street Signs, Noblesville Trophies, the Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Network. We welcome Coach Rick Wimmer in to talk to us about his game. Unfortunately for the Tigers, they ended up on the short end of a 19-17 game against the North Central Panthers this weekend.
Well, North Central outplayed us, and Coach O'Shea, I thought did a great job getting his guys ready, and we just didn't, we didn't do the things we needed to do. Had our chances certainly. Had the ball inside in scoring territory twice, and another time attempted a 43-yard field goal we did not hit that could have been the difference maker. But before that, we had taken about an 11-yard sack, and to make that a much longer play, we got about 10 of it back on the following play, but could have should have been a much shorter field goal attempt. So we had our chances. Missed an open receiver in the end zone, and ended up kicking a field goal. And then another time we had a turnover, had a little drive going, had a turnover about the 20-yard line going in that just a fumble exchange.
I've always said that as a high school coach, regardless of which sport you are in, you probably got one of the tougher jobs, from the standpoint that every year and even during the season, things are constantly changing. You know that what you have this year, you are not going to have next year, either through graduation or as kids come and go, families move or injuries or or whatever the case may be. Talk a little bit about the difference between your 2016 team and what you're putting on the field this year.
Well, I like our. I really like our team this year. I think we've. I don't really like comparing teams, but I think this team's a team's got a chance to be good. We just did not do the things we needed to do, and that's a credit to Coach O'Shea at North Central. I thought he outcoached us, and I thought their kids played harder and certainly didn't make as many mistakes as we did, but I think all the problems that we had are fixable problems. And I told the kids after the game, I felt like I felt like this was a game that that I had to take a lot of responsibility for. Just we saw some things that we weren't prepared for, and that's you get that sometimes with the first game that with a new coach, and we just didn't. They gave us some things different than what we thought we were going to get. So we will learn from that, and I think if we get an opportunity to play in the sectional, I think we'll be a little bit better prepared. But right now we're looking forward to the next one and getting an opportunity to make amends and make some improvements.
Let's talk, specifically about the offensive side of the ball during the game. It looked like, obviously 17 points wasn't enough to win the game, but it looked like there were some pretty positive things out there too.
Well, we hit a couple big plays. We had a big, great catch and effort to get in the end zone by Will Cyrus on a go route where he just felt like he could get behind a guy, and we were able to do that, a little play action, and he got behind him. And then we had another play action to our tight end, Bryce G, over the top of the defense as well. We missed on one early in the game where we got behind him. So we had opportunities, to hit some big plays, and we did hit a couple there for scores, but we lacked the consistency. I think we only had 2 runs over 10 yards, and I thought our tailback, Mike Noble, I thought he ran very hard. I thought he ran well, but we had 2 runs of over 10 yards, and I think those 2 passes, those big play passes we hit, we only completed 3 passes on the night, so it was we didn't execute in the passing game very well. So we got a lot of work to do offensively, probably trying to do a little too much at this point. We're playing 2 quarterbacks and trying to do different things with them, and I think it's, we're just trying to do too much. They're both capable, and I like both of them. So we're going to try to cut some things back for right now and just get better at doing a few things.
Well, one of the positives I've seen through the years in following your teams is you've always had a knack for having a good kicking game, and it looks like you've got that pretty well back again this year. I know Taylor Soper did such a good job for you last year. Yep. Of course, he graduated.
Yep. And Joey Gailey is our punter this year. He averaged right at 40 yards punt on 5 punts
yep.
the other night. So he really did a good job punting the ball. And Ben Norton is an all-state kicker, and he had a rough week the week before. Had some aggravating things going on, and he didn't kick a whole lot. And it showed a little bit. He missed the 43-yard field goal, which he's very capable of hitting. He's hit a lot of those.
That's almost a chip shot for him.
He's hit a lot of those, the last couple of years. But we got to improve our operation, I think, of that whole thing. And now he hit a couple. He hit a couple touchbacks and hit the 1 field goal and kicked the ball well. With that one exception on the long field goal attempt. But I like our kicking game. We've got to improve our punt coverage a little bit. Of course, we kicked the ball very deep, and he got it up in the air. But we got to get down the field a little bit faster. We did not cover those balls very well, and I don't think it was a case of we outkicked the coverage. We just got to get down the field. So I like where our kicking game's headed, and that's going to be important for us. We spend quite a bit of time. Jeff Harkin, our special teams coordinator, does a great job of not just with our kickers and punters, but I mean he really does a great job of teaching the fundamentals and the scheme to our guys and all of our coaches. We have a number of coaches that are involved in special teams, Jeff being the coordinator, but we put a lot of emphasis on it, and Jeff takes it, puts a lot of his time into that, and it's not something we just roll out there on Thursday and say who's on the teams. I mean, we spend a lot of time with it. So, and I think that will show as the year goes on.
Friday night, you're on the road going to Pike.
Yeah, Pike is a very impressive team on film. A lot of speed. They'll hit you. Offensively, they're going to be a real challenge for our defense. And our defense. One thing I might say about our defense on Friday, they came up with 4 turnovers. We had 3 picks and a fumble recovery. So our defense did, although we gave up some yards, our defense did a good job of getting the ball back for us offensively, and a couple times in very good field position. So that's good to see from our defense, and hopefully they can keep that up. But we'll have Pike will be a challenge for us to get off the field. I mean, they just they can strike quickly, and they can make big plays in a hurry. So they've got a lot of speed on that offense, and so it's going to really challenge our defense. It's really going to stretch us.
Well, you guys have got kind of a unique situation this year with the realignment of sectionals, in the fact, obviously, Hamilton Southeastern in the same conference, and you're playing both Pike and North Central as non-conference opponents, so you could potentially meet one or more of these teams.
Oh, sure.
At least. Well, you're going to meet at least one or more of them twice this year.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it is interesting. I'm glad we play them all early. You know, you'd hate to play somebody that's in your sectional the last game or 2 of the season and turn around and play them again. I've had to do that before, but I'm glad we play all of them early. And you know, usually when that happens, it's a much different type of game, you know, when you get to the sectional, but we're focused on the season at this point.
Well, after next week, you come out to Noblesville, and that will be a game that we will be carrying here on Hamilton County Television. So we will see you, obviously, next Monday, and then Labor Day weekend, we'll see you on Friday night at Noblesville. That's Fishers Tigers head coach Rick Wimmer. Coach, thank you for coming out, and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the Coaches Show in just 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up.
We'll be waiting for you.
The IHSAA, in partnership with Blue Frame Technology, is pleased to announce that you can now watch your favorite IHSAA sports on the all-new IHSAA TV Apple TV app. Watch live or search through thousands of archived broadcasts. Have an older Apple TV? You can still watch on your TV by going to AirPlay on your iOS device and choosing Apple TV. Download the new Apple TV app now in the Apple TV App Store.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind.
The breast care navigator will follow the patient and their family through the continuum of care.
My nurse navigator was always there.
Just to be an advocate for that patient.
You need the biggest support system that you can, and to know that you have one other person there who can help you through it is definitely something that is amazing.
Can I help you?
Yeah. I'm looking for Logan Street signs and banners.
You found us.
But this ain't Logan Street.
We moved 22 years ago.
You're telling me that Logan Street signs and banners isn't on Logan Street anymore?
Exactly.
So what are you saying?
Logan Street signs and banners, conveniently not located on Logan Street, but on South 10th Street in Noblesville, Indiana.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County Television High School Coaches Show. I'm Brad Silbert. We're joined by Hamilton Southeastern Assistant Coach Matt Alfeld. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street here in Noblesville. You can dine in or you can pick it up. If you want to pick it up, give them a call, 317-773-4444. Our other sponsors include Logan Street Signs and Banners, Noblesville Trophies, the Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Work. Well, Coach Alfelt, a good start to the season for the Royals up at Kokomo. Defensively, or actually, I don't know if you'd call the 2 points. The defense did not get scored upon, and the only points the Wildcats ended up were on a safety.
Yeah, I thought, coming out for the first week of the season, I thought our defense performed very well. They're a really difficult offense to prepare for. They're foot to foot, and they want to, go motion with two wings, and a lot of off tackle runs, a lot of smash mouth type of football, and they're big and physical. And run the ball down your throat's what they want to do, and they don't get bored with it. And so, first possession of the game on the second play, actually, we were able to get a takeaway. Took the ball away around the 15-yard line, put our offense in a good spot to score and get up 7-0 early. Next couple series, again, they're trying to smash it up in there, and we were able to hold and got some tackles for loss and put them in some long yardage situations, which is uncomfortable territory for them. And then eventually, we're able to build a 14-0 lead, shortly before the end of the first quarter. And at that point, they had to start spreading it out a little bit and do some things that they'd probably prefer not to do. But yeah, defensively took the ball away 5 times, had 4 fumble recoveries and a pick by Isaiah Phillips in the end zone to turn away a scoring drive. But you come out and you don't allow a score by a team that is a ground and pound type of a team. You've got to be pretty happy with that.
152 yards rushing.
Yeah, we again they're pretty big up front too. Their defense is pretty good in its own right, and their front seven is very physical, and especially up front, they're big and they're quick and difficult to block. And so we were able to grind out 152 yards on the ground, and we had Lance Stevens, had about 108 of those, and Cody Huppenthal did a good job in the quarterback position, rushed for about 35 more. Malik Sims stuck in a 6-yard touchdown as well. So, offensive line, got a hat on a hat, and we were able to turn out some yardage, but they were tough yards.
Only 50 yards passing on 33 yards passing for the Royals in the game.
Yeah, that's an area where we're continuing to work, and the accuracy was hit and miss. Had an interception late. I know we'll continue to get better. We've got 2 guys that don't have a lot of varsity experience. One, in Cody Huppenthal, who's run our JV for the past couple of years, a really hard-nosed, gritty kid and a smart kid, and just a real competitor, and he does a great job. And then we have Cody Sparks, who is a move into our district and hasn't run our offense before. So it's a learning experience, but both those guys are working awfully hard, and our entire offensive unit's working hard, and I'm sure we'll improve.
You had a couple players injured already, and among the key players, young Mr. Sweeney, how is he doing?
It's been a struggle for Jackson. He was banged up last season some, and has had some issues early on in the season, the off season. Just kind of banged up, and we're hoping for some good news and hoping to get him rehabbed and back with us soon. But we had a couple kids step in Stevens and Sims, and it's next man up, unfortunately there, and but we sure do miss Jackson and hope he's back with us soon.
The defense did not allow any points. Talk a little bit about the defense.
We talked to him about dominating your space and hitting the man over top of you, and really playing responsibility football. And against a team like Kokomo, that's something you got to do. You get out of position or run upfield, and they're going to hit you in the seams and in the alleys, and off tackle runs are big. So I thought we did a really good job of that. We had. I've never seen more balanced tackle points, coming out of a game before. Everybody hovered right around 5 or 6 solo tackles and 3 or 4 assists. So nobody really jumped off the page. It was Johnny May, Isaiah Phillips, Jake Gallet. You had several guys. Dalton Potter came in and had 6 or 7 solo tackles at the linebacker position. So we had 4 or 5 kids that had half dozen tackles or more. So to be that spread out and balanced, Hedrick up front had a really great game, and Norris as well. And we had a sophomore A couple of upperclassmen nose tackles that are banged up, both with ankle injuries, and we had a sophomore, Savon Smith, step in, and I thought he did a fantastic job. Recorded 3 or 4 tackles himself, and he recovered 2 of the fumbles. So for a sophomore to step in and start a varsity game, right out of the gates, that was pretty impressive to me. So we did a pretty good job.
The kicking game, we all know how important that is, and a 44-yard field goal is not exactly a gimme.
It's not. Tyler Milzer, and I've seen it in practice this year. I've been really, really impressed with our kickers and our punter. Our punter, Silbert, did a really great job too. But Milzer, the 44-yard field goal was fantastic, but the 3 touchbacks, I love those just as much because you put the team on the 20 and you don't allow a big play in the return game. Our kicking game was good, with the exception of the little miscue we had with our punt that resulted in the safety. It was solid, and I know that our long snapper, he makes 98% of those snaps are right on. So those things happen, and he rebounded, and the last 3 of the night were spot on perfect. So got all the faith in the world in him.
You think that might have been a little bit of opening night jitters?
It could be. It's just one of those things. Every once in a while you're going to have that, and it's something that it's such an important part of the game. We work it constantly, so we'll continue to shore those things up, and going forward we're just going to try to make them better.
Mm-hmm. Compare the 2016 team to 2017. What are some of the major differences this year?
Well, it's still early, hard to tell. Our offense is going to be a little bit more run-based, I think. With Mullet, he was able to sling it around 35, 40 times a game last year, and I don't think you'll see that. So offensively, it's going to look a little different there. Defensively, still the same. Want to get those guys moving up front a little bit. And our linebackers, I think, are going to be a strength for us. Secondary, we've got some new faces, but some kids that we have high hopes for and that have a lot of talent. So, it's same old Royals on that side. But just again, it's a meat grinder of a schedule and a tough conference, and excited to see how it goes.
We were talking to Coach Wimmer a little bit ago, and we were talking about the fact that the sectional that you guys share with Fishers this year, that you will play at least one of the other non-conference opponents. You guys will play North Central. And of course, Fishers is going to end up playing both North Central and Pike, and so for them alone, there's a possibility that they're going to see a couple of the teams twice.
Right.
In that, it makes it very interesting, and of course, with the shift from the northern half of the state to the southern half of the state, and how does it feel not to be in a sectional with Carmel?
It's different, but with 6A, I don't know that there's an easy path, to be honest, because you go, if you're fortunate enough to get out of a sectional, then you got Warren Central, Ben Davis, Center Grove down there. Obviously in your own sectional, North Central's got a lot of talent. Fishers is always one of the premier teams in our area, and Pike has all kinds of weapons. So I don't know that there's an easy path in 6A, and Carmel's a fantastic program as well, and it's I think just a little bit of a change of scenery and just a couple of different teams to prepare for will be kind of intriguing and exciting. So we're looking forward to that.
North Central, they pulled probably was what everybody has got to believe is one of the biggest upsets, probably if not the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets of the season so far, in taking down Fishers at home. How are you guys preparing for them?
Just on film, it just jumps out that they're big and physical on the offensive line up front, and we're showing the kids today. Those kids, if they can get a hold of you, they're big, they're tough, they can run. But if they lock onto you, it's going to be really hard to get off and make plays. So they're definitely loaded with talent. Their JV team last year and even their freshman squad had really good seasons. So those kids are continuing on through their system. So new coaching staff, a lot of excitement, and they're definitely talented in lots of areas. So for them to go out there Friday and win a close game is just going to give them confidence, especially a close game over a great program like Fishers. It's something that's a team that starts to believe is dangerous, and these guys are talented, and they're starting to believe, and they're going to give us all we want and more.
That's going to be very interesting to be down there at North Central on Friday night, because after the victory over the Tigers, they have got to be high as a kite and ready to take on the world.
Oh, I would imagine it's their home opener, and They have a 1-0 record for the first time in a couple of years, and it's going to be a battle for sure. We're going to have to get ready.
Well, thanks, Coach Alfeld. Matt Alfeld, assistant head coach of the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. We'll continue right now with the Hamilton County Coaches Show, and Perry Williams had a chance to catch up a little bit earlier today with Westfield head coach Jake Gilbert. So we'll show you that interview right now.
Well, welcome to the Hamilton County Coaches Show. I'm Perry Williams, and alongside me today is the Westfield head coach, Jake Gilbert. Welcome, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to be back again this year. You know, fall football is always my favorite time of the year, especially when I get to spend time with great coaches like we have here in Hamilton County.
Yeah, thank you. It's my favorite too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, Coach, coming off a state championship in the 5A, starting here in 6A this year. Okay, yep. You had to move up, but it's, you know, and it's not going to affect you a whole lot because you basically play a 6A schedule being in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference.
Yeah, so our regular season won't change at all, and we play 7 of the 9 teams are 6A, and we'll continue to do that. Next year it'll be 8 of the 9. It just kind of depends when Zionsville, I guess, moves up to 6A as well. But we've been playing 6A teams for the most part in conference, and so it won't affect us there. It's just the state tournament. Our section will be in Noblesville and Jeff, who we've been playing, but then Carmel obviously being the big gorilla in the room.
So we'll have the 6A. We'll have the 6A and 5A state champions.
The same section. Who did that?
Yeah, who did that? Who did that? Well, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about this season, and want to talk about your game on Friday. It had to be a great atmosphere. First game back, being state champions in 5A. I'm sure the crowd was huge, and you played a very good opponent in Harrison, and you came out victorious, 22-7.
Yeah, great start for us, and it was an amazing atmosphere. This place was packed, standing room only, and great student section, so that was fun. We honored Coach Robinson, who had coached in our youth league for 17 years and passed away from cancer just recently, and we honored him, and I think we honored him in how we played as well. So I was real proud of our guys. We beat a great Harrison team. That team's going to win a lot of games this year. A very experienced, deep football team, and so that was a spectacular win for us.
Yeah, because you know, in reading up on Harrison before you played your game, you had, I think Harrison has 9 back on offense and 8 back on defense. Yeah. So that's a very experienced football team.
And we're the opposite.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Really happy that our new guys could settle their nerves and step in there and win one for our program.
But I think if you read articles and you know Jake Gilbert, you know the one thing that since this is your 7th year? 7 years here. And you've always taught this ever since you started 7 years ago, because I can remember when I was substitute teaching here that first year you were here 7 years ago, same way, your approach has always been the same, okay? It's you have to build a culture,
yep,
which you have done, okay? Your trip to Lucas Oil was the 2nd time that you made that trip, and this past year you came out victorious, and the others is work ethic.
Yeah. So for our guys, we have very little experience, but I do feel like the culture is as strong as it's been. So that's never been a disappointment yet. I think our guys have done a great job, and they're working hard, and the culture, the family, and the commitment have been an A+. So it's just a matter of getting some experience, and how long will it take us to gel this team and build this team into what it can be.
Yeah, the one thing about when you look at the stats, it's the style of the game is basically the same as Jake Gilbert football. You know, you're a balanced attack, okay, yeah, offensively and defensively. I mean, offense and you're just, you know, passing and running, so you're very balanced of that. But the one thing, you had a lot of holes to fill on defense, and you have to be proud of the play, your defense performance on Friday night, because they came up with some big fourth down stops and all those type of things. Let's talk a little bit about that and mention some of those players that had big games.
Sure. Well, you know, we had to replace 19 out of our top 22 on defense. So not just starters, but even backups.
Sure.
We were so senior laden last year defensively, and we had a great defense. Well, a lot of new faces, and we have not played well defensively until Friday. And so I was so happy to see us play so hard out there. I would say Griffin Lickfelt stood out the most. Defensive tackle, he really controlled the middle along with Michael Delaney. And I think great defenses start inside out.
Absolutely.
And those guys did a great job for us. We got pretty good in play out of Cam Fry and Ryan Mahoney too. So we were just really, really happy with the defensive line. And then Colin Caldwell in his first year as a linebacker, this first time he's played linebacker for us, he had 12 tackles, which was by far and away the best he has played. And so we were so encouraged about how Colin did. And then also right at the middle, Kobe Hauser, you know, who was probably our best player. He got a takeaway, a couple big hits. He's in on a lot of tackles, had some good returns in special teams. So we need those guys to play great. Griffin and Colin and Kobe, and they did.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, let's talk about this offense, because there again, you had to replace a lot of guys in offense too.
Well, we were, you know, we've kind of been a running team here recently, and Nate Freilich, our tailback, is back from a year ago when he had 18 rushing touchdowns. And Nate had a good night the other night. It's just that we had a lot of runs called back on penalties, and so his yardage total and the final stats wasn't maybe as good as what actually took place during the game. But we played very good defense, and we were able to put up some points. We you know, left some out there. I think we had a couple field goal attempts and a turnover on downs, and so we didn't score as efficiently as we would have liked. But we were able to put in the end zone enough for us to win the game. So 22, a little bit lower than what we're used to scoring, but we think we can just finish a couple of those drives and we would have been just fine.
Yeah, because you know, noticing in the stats here, I'm sure you're not real happy with 80 yards penalties and 9 penalties. So
not at all.
Not at all. So I'm sure we'll be correcting that this week, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things
top
at the top of the list.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you got off to a great start here, but then now you got to go on the road for a couple of games. Okay. Now, Southport's at Lucas Oil. Is that right?
Right. So at Lucas Oil this Friday, kickoff will probably be 8:30ish. We follow another game, so it should be a great environment there as well. It's always fun to play there. So excited to be able to take a new team and new trip to Lucas Oil and play a good Southport team.
Yeah, and then you go on the road there for Zionsville.
Yeah.
Which Zionsville's another very good football team this season. So
yeah,
they're all good. In
our big rival. That's how it goes. Every week you play someone really strong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll take it one at a time and focus on Southport for this week.
Yeah.
They're traditionally very good. They've got an excellent quarterback, and so he's capable of lighting some teams up. So we're going to have to have a good pass rush and play a good pass defense to beat this team.
Yeah, you know, and that's going to be really a key. A little bit, switch back a little bit here with Southport coming up, you know, by losing Will Harrison in your kicking game, which some people, in the kicking punting game, some people overlook that a little bit, the normal fan, but that's a huge part of your game. And everyone in 6A football and college, all that is a huge part of your game. And I think you got a pretty good kicker this year.
Yeah, Alex Bales was tremendous Friday night, so I was so happy with Alex. Alex had a big punt that pinned him deep one time when it was the perfect time to do so. Was able to reach the end zone with his kickoffs, and then it was 2 for 2 on field goals. So
Yeah,
can't do a lot better than that.
No, I mean, one was 28 yards and one was 26. So.
Yeah. We could have kicked another one at the end of the game. I was trying to get a first down and therefore be able to run the clock out. Probably should have trotted him out there to go 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Poor decision on my part, but that's what you say when it doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But we were real happy with Alex. Even just the way he carried himself, I was so proud of him. And then, Sam Lapierre, our snapper. This was his first game. I don't overlook that either, and he was on the money and fast, and so that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time to talk with us at Hamilton County TV, and as you know, we broadcast your game on Friday night, and I guess we'll be back here when you play Noblesville.
Great, can't wait.
Yeah, so good luck at Southport. At Lucas Oil this weekend. With Southport, and I'll see you next week.
See you then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Well, there you go.
Welcome back to the Hamilton County Television Coaches Show. And remind you about some programming notes coming up here on Hamilton County Television this week. Coming up on Friday night, Craig Atkins and I will be at Guerin High School as the Lafayette Central Catholic team comes into Guerin. That will be a 7:30 start on Friday night. Next week on Monday, of course, we will have the Coaches Show. And also coming up this weekend, something new for Hamilton County Television. We're going to be broadcasting part of the Grand Games, which are being presented by CrossFit Thrive, in Westfield. Sorry about that. That starts actually out at Grant Park in the Events Center at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. Hamilton County Television, we will be on the air with that beginning at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Could be an interesting day. If you can't get out there to see them in person, you can go to the Grand Games out at the Grand Park Events Center starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday. And as I said, we'll have it on the air at 10 a.m. Also coming up next week, 1 week from tonight, will be the Hamilton County Coaches Show once again here at 7 o'clock. I'd like to thank all the coaches for joining us tonight and thank all of our great sponsors. That sponsors being Greek's Pizza on South 10th Street in Noblesville. You can dine in or you can call and order in at 317-773-4444. Our other sponsors are Logan Street Signs and Banners, Noblesville Trophies, the Hamilton County Reporter, and Community Health Network. On behalf of everybody here at Hamilton County Television, I'm Brad Silbert. Good night. We'll see you next week.